Economics is a very complex subject, but simple at the same time. Seemingly, that's not the case for everyone. Some people get overwhelmed by essays that may require drawing and interpretation of graphs. 8-mark questions on what should be done to save your country's economy, but you don't even watch the news, or to draw a Phillips unemployment curve. In this video, I'll be breaking down the study strategies and the mindset shifts that help me get a distinction in one term and how you can apply them. Hi, my name is Unam Hlulani and I'm an accounting science student at the University of South Africa. And on this channel, I help you get good grades. You see, before I got to grade 12, I used to not care about economics. It was one of those subjects that as long as I passed, I'm all good. When I got to grade 12, I knew I had to do more than just get a 40% and pass, because I was going to use those results to apply to universities. Then came along the end of the first term in grade 12. I got 64% for economics. I mean, it was okay, it was not too bad. But then came along the end of the second term. And guess what? I was still stuck at 60. If I'm being honest, in those first two terms, I was using the CPF method, the cram, pass, forget. And I truly got the marks I deserved. One day during holidays, in an extra class session with our economics teacher, as we were going through the paper we wrote in that term, we came along an 8-mark question. And then she turned to me and said, I saw your answers on this question, and I saw that you didn't really study, but you have an idea of what's going on. I can guarantee you that if you really study to understand and not cram, you'd get a distinction. Then in term 3, I did. Then I went on to get my certificate for the highest average in business studies, accounting, and economics in that term. The first thing I did was to become intentional with my studying. In economics, there are 4 main topics, namely macroeconomics, economic pursuits, microeconomics, and contemporary economic issues. The first 2 topics appear in paper 1, and the other 2 appear in paper 2. With this information, I made sure that for each paper, there's a topic that I get down to the T, and I chose macroeconomics and contemporary economic issues, which would guarantee me 50% on each paper. At the time, paper 1 was easier for me because paper 2 had graphs and markets that I did not quite understand at the time. So I decided to capitalize on paper 1, and you should too. Well, either paper 1 or paper 2, as long as the paper is less challenging for you than the other. By the way, just because I chose main topics does not mean I neglected the others. I like telling people that personally, I like spending 60% of my study time on the topics that I chose and 40% on others. Before I started studying, I needed to understand the key concepts or key terms, depending on your notes. Then I would find it much more easier to understand the whole topic. The way I would go about this was reading my word bank, which had these key terms and their definitions. Sometimes I would read a keyword and not understand it, but I would only make sense of it when I was reading my notes later on. But I promise you, with enough exposure, you will understand your word. I remember this one day at the beginning of the third term when I was speaking to a friend on a phone call. I remember sharing with them how I enjoyed my subjects like economics, or because I changed my attitude towards them and how I approach my work. If you walk into class telling yourself that you hate the teacher or that particular subject, trust me, you will not do well in it. And I know it's not easy to take interest in challenging subjects, but you are gonna have to develop some kind of tenacity towards your subject. And there is one question that helped me shift my mindset and get through this phase. I asked myself, What's actually making me hate this subject? Is it the content? Is it the workload? The way it's taught? Or how I feel about myself doing it? Well, I know some people who did economics because they didn't think they were good enough for physics or life sciences. And now they ended up doing economics instead, and they kind of hate it. But it will be a different reason for everyone, and once you've found it, attend to it. Whether it's by consulting a teacher, a classmate, or YouTube. Speaking about YouTube, there's a channel that made a whole lot of a difference in my paper too, with drawing and interpreting diagrams, and that is Cardon Madzokere. Shout out to the person who introduced me to this channel. I wish I had time so I can teach all myself, but we'll leave it to the pro. He also does other lessons concerning other economics topics besides graphs, from grade 10 to grade 12, I believe. So you better check him out.
But the essays. Now, for your economic essays, I have nothing much to share. But there's a link in the description where I have attached a PDF that you can download that has all the essays for all the main topics. You see, this is the reason I emphasize on choosing your main topics earlier on, so that when you write your essay, it is much more easier, especially if you have chosen a main topic and got down to the T with it. Writing your essays will be much more easier. Like, for example, if you have chosen macroeconomics, there's only so many essays that they might test you on, like your markets, your circular flow, and your business cycles. It's only like 3 or 4. So make sure that you choose your main topics. So the way you can go about memorizing your essays is entirely up to you. I know some people who read out the essays and that's how they memorize the essays. But I used active recall, where I would try and memorize my introduction. After memorizing my introduction, I would write it down. After writing it down, I would say it out loud. I would then move on to my body. Then now I would try to recall my body and my introduction together. Then write them both down. And so on. And remember, do not leave any spaces open. Please do not leave any spaces open. Any relevant answer will be marked right. And also, there's this thing that people do when they are writing the essays in their body, in their main part, when they forget their subheading, let's say here for product markets or goods market. If you forget your subheading, write down the points if you remember them. If your subheading is the only thing that you forget or you have forgotten, write down your points. As long as you have 13 points, those 13 points, each point is worth 2 marks, which gives you 26 for your body. And for your additional part, you need to have 5 points worth 10 marks. And please guys, your subheadings here on your essay are worth 8 marks, each one 1 mark. If you have 8, depending on your essay, you can find out all of the information on the document. It's in the description. Check it out.